Previously on the Game Show Reviewer.
Sarah, go. By the way, why isn't my control yoke vibrating?
Odd. Check your scanner readout.
Abort the leap, I don't care where.
I can't, sir. It's like we leapt into another craft's time leap field.
Well, can you ID the craft at least? I mean, I'm guessing it's that large blob on the scanners.
Well, I've got to name an agency from markings, but it can't be right. I've only seen this agency on a game show.
What do you have for me, Sarah?
Ship agency is Acme Time Net, and ship name is...
Chrono Skimmer. Oh, here we go again. That's not possible. How is that possible? That was just a game show from the mid-90s. It was filmed on sets for PBS. It wasn't real.
Well, sir, maybe it was real in another dimension. This place is supposed to somehow be the key to dimension shifting, whatever that is. Besides, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like this.
Oh, right. Battle Royale. Whatever the case, we've got to leap out of here. We're much easier to track in subtime. Try the time circuits again.
Shutting down time circuits, we're just spreading them out this way.
I wholeheartedly agree. Well, we're always drifting around in subtime. You suppose it's possible we'll just drift outside the Chrono Skimmer's leap field?
I suppose it's possible.
Okay, good. In the meantime...
If you're thinking about reviewing this one, sir, you're on your own. I only know bits and pieces, not enough for a full review.
Noted. Anyways, educational shows usually get a bad rep, usually being shown as slow, dull, and boring. But hey, you know what? If every educational show was like these two, I might have actually stayed awake through high school. Time to start gathering the clues and piece together what made these game shows work. Coming up next on the Game Show Reviewer.
In the not-so-distant future, a time-traveling experiment known as the Tempest program was undergoing their first live trial. This did not go according to plan. Unknown to anyone, an extra-dimensional force, known by the call sign of Orion 3, seized control of the test aircraft, hurling plane and pilot off course and around time. Their mission, the complete destruction of Tempest One. Now, faced with incredible odds against him, the Game Show Reviewer ducks in and out of time, still managing to review his favorite game shows while staying one step ahead of the evil forces, and all the while still hoping that his next leap will be the leap home.
China, tell me where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
Howdy y'all, I'm your Game Show Reviewer, reviewing the game show greats and the occasional dud. Now, I'm sure you have questions, probably at the forefront of which is, Reviewer, what in blazes are you doing sitting next to a giant floating hamburger surrounded by onion rings? Well, I'll get to that in a minute, I promise. But first, there's something I've been meaning to do on the show for a while, and, well, it looks like I finally have my excuse. Starting right here and right now, we're going to be doing a comparison between adult and kid game shows. In all the adult game shows I've talked about, there's been one common element: trivia. Trivia makes up a huge portion of these shows. There are exceptions to this.
On your mark, get set, go, Marie. Go, 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 go.
What I'm really trying to say is that adult game shows are very focused on the grand prize, with the game itself almost being like an obstacle. Oh, sure, they're fun to play, but it's always about the grand prize. Kids' game shows are very different. Again, there are exceptions to every rule, but kids' game shows tend to fall into one of three categories, and they're usually a mix of two of those. Those categories being sports-themed, adventure-themed, or trivia-themed. Let's take Legends of the Hidden Temple. That is mainly adventure-themed with some elements of trivia in there. I guess what I'm really trying to get at is that it's not really about the grand prize at the end, although that definitely helps. It's more about having fun with the game itself. Now, despite what I just said about kids' game shows mostly not being trivia-themed, this one is. It's also adventure-themed, in a manner of speaking. The show in question revolves around a central story that a woman who's a former crime detective is now the head of a vile and evil crime syndicate. No, I don't mean the time-space dimension enforcement. She causes all sorts of havoc around the world by stealing certain items and ideas. The story is simple. Capture her. Who is she, you might ask? Well, you might recognize her by her red fedora and red trench coat as Carmen Sandiego. So, how does a show about a woman escaping to different points in the planet come into existence? Well, we're in a time machine, so let's just find out. It all started with a survey conducted by National Geographic. It turns out, at the time the survey was conducted, 1 in 4 United States citizens couldn't locate the former Soviet Union or even the Pacific Ocean when given a map. The biggest blob of blue on the map, and 1 in 4 couldn't figure it out. Well, something had to be done about this. PBS decided to launch an educational show on this matter, and this became the famous game show seen here. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
All these people want to know, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
Ah, that classic theme song sung by Rockapella. Oh sure, it's no tuning up from Pyramid. But it has a charm all its own. So, first we're introduced to our contestants for the day, referred to as Gumshoes. Next up, the chief of Acme CrimeNet, the detective agency on the show, would fill us and the contestants in on the general information of the day's mystery. I'm also going to point out that sometimes the items stolen are just flat out absurd, such as stealing a whole mountain or even the old faithful geyser. Hey, you know what? If it teaches geography, I'm all for it. Also, I have to admit, I love those almost whammy-style animations of the crook stealing the item. Just have a certain charm to them. Now, remember what I said, only general information is provided. I say that because, well, let's face it, if she completely filled us in, there'd be no mystery at all, and therefore no point in watching the show. Remember, this is an educational show. In a rare display for game shows, the episode title is actually displayed next, followed by introducing our host, otherwise known as the senior agent in charge of training new recruits, Greg Lee.
Greg Lee! Thank you. Thank you. How are you? Thanks. I got hair's all messed up, man. Thanks very much. Thank you. Hi, Michelle. Is it Tahar? What? Tahir, right. Marissa, nice to see you guys. How are you guys? You good? Yeah. Good. Okay, listen, I just want to remind you, if one of you catches Carmen Sandiego today, you're going to get that trip to anywhere in North America, and that's not bad, ladies and gentlemen.
First off, the contestants are funded with this show's version of points, called Acme Crime Bucks. Each question, or clue, is presented in the form of a sketch, usually with Rockapella involved somehow. These sketches would have something to do with the current location of Carmen's henchmen of the day. Throughout the game, they're always on the move, so the story involves the Gumshoes slowly closing in on them. But here's what's interesting about the questions, though. Take a look at this clip.
Okay, guys, name the island, if you will, please. Is it Mindanao, Luzon, or Borneo? Remember the clues that we heard? Southernmost large island in the Philippines. Most people farm for a living. And Calabao festivals. Come up with an answer as quickly as you can. Trying to find Robo. Biddy is ready. David, are you ready? Yes, he is. And Deborah is still thinking about it and still looking at the map. And now she's going back to her cards and the map and thinking and the card. What do you think, Deborah?
I chose Mindanao.
Mindanao. What do you think, David?
I also chose Mindanao.
Mindanao. Vidya?
I chose Borneo.
Borneo. The answer we're looking for is Mindanao. Nice job, Deborah and David.
Take note, Greg first provided 3 possible answers, then repeated all the vital clues from the sketch just performed. If you were paying careful enough attention, you could probably answer the question correctly by just those clues alone, making the sketch itself almost superfluous. I said almost, because let's face it, without these sketches, this would be a very boring and very quick game show. At some point during the first round, a lightning effect would signal the beginning of the lightning round.
Hands on the buzzers, listen closely, here we go. Traditionally, Korean meals include soup, fish, vegetables, and a spicy dish called kimchi. Is kimchi marinated beef, marinated short ribs, or pickled cabbage? Scott?
Pickled cabbage?
Pickled cabbage is right. Nice job. Gives you 5 more. All right, question 2, the Pak post.
Worst lightning round ever. The 3 questions asked would have something to do with the henchman's last known location, and each was worth 5 points. While coming back from that round, the next 2 sketches are almost always in the same order. Greg would be called into the chief's office for a comedy break or to announce the winners of the home player game. And then would be treated to a wiretapped phone conversation between Carmen Sandiego and the henchman of the day. Let's call the latter another clue or question round, because that's exactly what happens. Now, occasionally, a round would be played at about this point called the chase.
Ooh, the chase.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you guys again. All these worth 5 Acme crime bucks, guys, so watch very carefully the screen, listen very carefully to the host. Hands on your buzzers. Here we go. Top grunge toppled into Brazil's largest city. Eric. Sao Paulo is right. Then he popped wheelies into Paraguay. What made Sandeep?
Congo.
Sorry, it's Paraná. Grunge grunted.
Now that's how you do a lightning round. Players would be shown a map with the crook's known location along with 3 possible answers. Greg would read off the question requiring the gumshoes to buzz in with the correct answer. Only the first buzz in was accepted, because after that, the answer was revealed and the crook would move on. Fast-paced and very energetic, that is what a lightning round looks like. Now then, I want you to tell me what this final clue of the day reminds you of.
Now, guys, it's time for the final clue of this round, which means you have to make a decision. Now you have to decide how much you want to risk. If you're right, we'll add that amount to your score. If you're not right, we'll subtract it from your score. You can risk 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50 Acme crime bucks. Take a look right over here, if you will, please. Here's a portion of the world where we think Top Grunge is headed. If you know a lot about this part of the world, you may want to risk a lot. If you don't know very much about it, though, you may not risk quite so much. So take a look at the map and think about it.
Okay, so it wasn't exactly like the final Jeopardy round. There were enough differences to make it unique, I suppose. Moving right along, though, the 3rd place contestant was eliminated at this point, leaving the 1st and 2nd player to face off against each other. This is where the gameplay left the office set and moved to a tourist destination set with a little sign that was the last known location of Carmen's henchman. This final game is basically a variant of memory. The chief would get in the educational material by talking a little bit about the location shown on the board there. Then the contestants would go back and forth trying to find the stolen item, a warrant, and the henchman on the board. Now, take note, they had to be found in that order, which means there actually was a slight chance that one contestant could do all the work for the other one.
Great. Go ahead, Scott.
Old World City.
Old Walled City.
Pine Grove.
Now choose.
Pine Grove.
Pine Grove.
And KMU Caves.
Kamui Caves. Oh, yeah. Come here, Scotty.
I'll give the show some credit at this point. The grand prize was actually fairly unique. After that round, the winning contestant was given a portfolio to write down any destination in the lower 48 states. This would be the grand prize should they capture Carmen Sandiego in the final round. Continuing the storyline, the now captured henchman would call the player directly and reveal on which continent Carmen Sandiego was hiding. The chief would call off several countries on that continent, and the player was taken to this giant map. The objective of this round is very simple, and at the same time, very tough. Greg would call off a country that had sighted Carmen, leaving the player to take one of these markers to that country. They had 2 chances to place it correctly, after which they had to abandon the marker and move on. The contestant had 45 seconds to successfully tag 8 countries, which would result in capturing Carmen Sandiego.
India, go, go, go!
Carmen Sandiego.
Take note what I said, however, that the objective of the round is simple. The round itself is basically an endurance round, and if you ever ended up on the Africa map, yeah, you may as well just say you lose right there. Honestly, I don't remember seeing anyone ever winning on this map. But then again, not even I've seen every episode of this series.
Okay? Yep. Okay, look, man, you've been doing a lot of hard work for us today. There's one more thing I want you to do. You know what it is. Do it, Rockapella!
Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego was a fun show, entertaining and educational at the same time. Well, sure, maybe it didn't cure the lack of geographic information like PBS hoped it would, but you know what, at least it tried. Ultimately, I have to give it a thumbs up. This show ran for 5 years from 1991 to 1996. At that point, the show wasn't exactly cancelled, just relaunched. And yes, I know, what does all this have to do with this spaceship I'm sitting next to? I'm getting there, I promise. I'm not certain about the line of thinking behind this. Maybe PBS saw a similar problem with history that National Geographic saw in geography. And they were probably right. Whatever the case though, Carmen Sandiego stepped up her operation from not only stealing items and ideas from locations, she was now also stealing them from history. Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego premiered in place of Where in the World on October 7th, 1996. Returning as the newly renamed Acme TimeNet chief was Lynn Thigpen, and hosting was Acme TimeNet squadron leader Kevin Shinnick.
We're on the case and we're chasing her through history. Chrono skimmer, engines hot, vile villains, evil plot. Our brave squadron leader will help us defeat her and bring back the loot to its rightful place in time. Tell me where in time is Carmen Sandiego. Stop her crime and solve this mystery. Tell me where in time is Carmen Sandiego. We're on the case and we're chasing her through history.
And here's the Time Pilot Squadron Leader, Kevin Shinnick.
Hey, welcome aboard, everybody. I want you to hang on tight because we've got a very big mission, but very little time. So let's meet today's...
The general structure of the gameplay is unchanged from the original show. Players, now called Time Pilots, had to pick up clues as to the Henchman of the Day's location not only in place, but in time as well. Unlike the office set of Where in the World, this time the gameplay was set aboard this top-secret spaceship capable of time travel called the Chrono Skimmer. Ha! See? I told you I'd get to this thing eventually. Clues this time came in the form of historical figures brought on board, historical figures that tell a story on the large screen, a conversation between the henchman and Carmen that's spied upon, and occasionally even the henchman would talk directly to the Time Pilots themselves.
Wait a second, guys. What's happening in the ship? Something... Watch the view screen.
Hi, pilots. I'm in the year when Communist Party founder Vladimir Lenin returns from abroad and rallies Russian workers. Yeah, and I bet Lenin would love a new union just formed in the U.S. It's called...
Wait a minute. Haven't we seen her before?
We're on the case and we're chasing her through history.
Well, there's your problem. You have one of Carmen's henchmen as a member of your engine crew. I'm just kidding. Actually, with the show's budget cut from the previous show, the 3 members of the engine crew had to play dual parts as the vile henchmen. Oh right, Rockapella was let go, so here's the replacement, the Chrono Skimmer engine crew. Back to the game. Like I said before, there were more interesting ways of obtaining clues, including the henchmen contacting the Chrono Skimmer directly, or even...
Where in time is Bugs to... Oh no! We're gonna crash into something! Brace for impact! Wait a second, guys, wait a second. That ship looks a lot like ours. Let's see who's on board. Hi there. Sorry, we hit a patch of slippery time and skidded out of control. Hey, you're me, but I'm the real Kevin. Well, you and I are both the real Kevin. I'm just the Kevin from 3 days in your future. And we're here on another mission. Well, then you must remember the mission I'm on today. Could you give us some help? Sure.
Interesting, yes. But here's my personal favorite.
All right, pilots, for our next clue, we're gonna... Oh no! We're getting pulled into a parallel universe! And so, we must do no good unto others before they do no good unto us! Oh. me, sir! I thought I smelled the familiar stench of your wickedness!
In this alternate universe, Vile are now the good guys, with Acme now being called Acme SlimeNet. Wait.
Strangers to live together. Then, video crews follow them
Okay.
around and
Well, in any case, good always wins over evil in this universe too. It's a kids show. What are you gonna say? Anyways, more elements shared with Where in the World include this segment called Global Pursuit. Yes, it's the chase with a new name. The chronoskimmer runs on fact fuel. No comment. And every once in a while they would need to replenish that fuel with a lightning round called a data boost. A question with 2 possible answers was asked, and the contestant who buzzed in either got it right and earned 5 power points, or missed and lost 5 power points. The Jeopardy parallel is so there. This was played twice in the first season, the first time after the first time jump, and again after the day's henchmen attacked the chronoskimmer. The second season only included the attack on the chronoskimmer round. Moving right along, remember that final Jeopardy style round played at the end of round 1 on the other show? Well, that was ditched in favor of another lightning round called an Ultimate Data Boost. Same rules as before apply, except that 10 power points are at risk for every buzz-in.
Thanks, Chief. All right, Squadron, we've sent Cassie back to TimeNet Command while we stay on board here and complete this mission. You guys ready?
Aye, aye, Kevin.
The next round with the remaining 2 players still resembled Memory, but it was played differently. This time, the idea was to chart a course through history through 8 different events, starting from the most recent, relatively speaking, to the least recent. The time pilots would trade off back and forth, just like on the previous show, until one of them named off all 8 events in the right order.
The Magna Carta is issued.
Yes, 12:15, Jacob, you've saved history. Give me 5. Way to go. Now, I want you to activate the transporter and restore the loot to its proper place in history.
Remember what I said about the show's budget getting cut? Well, it had an effect on the grand prize as well. Since they couldn't afford to send the pilots anywhere they wanted to, they were now given a multimedia computer system, which I'm sure would be top of the line for many years to come. Yeah, more like 3. It was played for in the final round, known as the Trail of Time.
We're on the case and we're chasing her through history.
It's about as fast-paced as the map round from the original show, and about as impossible to win. Simply put, the winning time pilot would have 90 seconds to answer 6 questions at 6 time gates asked by Carmen Sandiego herself.
It's around 2000 BC. What are the Egyptian people now wearing? Sarongs or sandals?
Sandals.
Yes, way to go. Move on to the second portal.
There was no clear-cut path, rhyme, or reason to the path one would take during this round, and it was really only indicated by the chronoskimmer engine crew waving the contestant along to the next gate. In the show's final season, the next gate was specially illuminated, but it really didn't make this round any easier. Should the contestant answer the question incorrectly, they would have to perform some sort of task to manually open the gate. The contestant could safely miss 1 of these questions without much risk. 2 would be seriously pushing it, and 3, yeah, you're screwed.
It's the 1960s. Who works with Arthur C. Clarke on the epic 2001: A Space Odyssey? George Lucas or Stanley Kubrick?
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, way to go, Tim. You did it, buddy. You've energized the capture crystal. Now take it and place it in the chronolock chamber. Go ahead, do that. You'll capture Carmen Sandiego. Whoa, Tim, that was close, but you pulled it off, buddy. Feel great?
Yeah,
Good for you. Right now, the Chief is here to show you what you've won.
Like I said, very similar to the map round from Where in the World. After all was said and done, our Time Squadron leader would sign off. My final thoughts in a minute. First, this. The character of Carmen Sandiego was actually popular enough to spawn a Saturday morning cartoon series that lasted from February 5th, 1996 to January 2nd, 1999. A very good run. However, I'm a game show reviewer, so I'm not going to go into this. I just thought I'd mention it. There's a term I heard once, and I really wish I knew who said it so I could give some credit here. But the term was stealth education. In context, I think they were talking about the famous cartoon series The Magic School Bus, but you know what? The same logic applies here. Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego was more than a game show. It was an adventure. Well, sure, you could always count on the story being the same, but you always got new information about new places around the world. It made you think a bit like a detective trying to figure out where the crook of the day was trying to hide. Now, I know that many consider Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego as an inferior game show, but in my opinion, I don't think so. The subject matter was different, sure, with history instead of geography, but that doesn't make the information any less relevant. Well, sure, the second show didn't feature rockapella, but its production values were higher than before and on a lower budget. Honestly, it's a show roughly on par with Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, in my opinion. I give both game shows my seal of approval, and I'd love to see a modern-day remake of either. Let's face it, it's harder to screw up a kids' game show than an adult one. That doesn't count. That's technically screwing up an adult's game show by making it for kids.
And remember, at Acme TimeNet, history is our job, the future is yours!
And that should just about cover it. I've got my own mystery to solve here, and I can't really blame a woman who wears all red on it, can I? I'm your game show reviewer, reviewing the game show greats and the occasional dud. I'll see you next time. Sarah, we're not exactly drifting anywhere, are we?
I've noticed that too. I'm going to try a leap again, but don't hold your breath.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Okay, we still have a 3% fuel load, right?
Correct, sir, and if the time circuits were in working order, we could probably pull off a short leap with that. Otherwise, it's barely enough to warm up the engines for a second or two.
Well, we don't need much more than that. I mean, a quick flash from the engine should be able to get us out of the Chronoskimmer's leap field.
Captain?
Sarah, give me a line to them. I don't care what you have to do. We have to warn them.
Pilots, Jacqueline Hyde's done something weird to the ship. Engine room, report.
Chronoskimmer, this is Tempest One. Captain Shinnick, if you can hear me, your aggressor is not Jacqueline Hyde. I don't have time to explain. Perform a data boost and get out of here.
All right, time pilots, I'll name 2 historical figures. Your job, buzz in and tell me whether they were born in the same years or 50 years apart.
Well, we're captured. As soon as we exit the Chronoskimmer's leap field, we'll drop back to normal time, and them along with us.
Well, at least they're not attacking the Chronoskimmer. Sarah, what's the atmosphere like out there?
Actually, all that bluish haze aside, it's comparable to Earth's sea level standard. Maybe just a hint of no, sir. No, no, no. Don't you even think about it.
Unless you have any better options.
Fine. But you'll have 20 seconds, after which I'm closing the canopy.
That'll be all I'll need.
Seconds, sir.
Courtesy of the Tempest program.
hope you realize just how stupidly reckless that was.
Yeah, you're welcome too.
At least we've dropped out of subtime.
Well, the question is, where?
Can't say I know exactly where this is.
Oh, I do. And here we go again.
Space Monkey Mafia Studios.